everyone. Margaret Maloney here, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the PMBOK guide, because even though we've been on our friend, the 5th edition, since January, I still get some questions, and they're really good questions. And there are questions about, so there's a new PMBOK guide, what am I supposed to do about it? And that's what we're going to talk about today is, so there's a new PMBOK guide, what are you supposed to do about it? We'll see.
Well, let's start with the easy stuff first. If you're a person who's preparing for the PMP exam or the CAPM, then of course you want to use PMBOK 5, and you want to make sure that all of your training and study materials are all centered around PMBOK 5. See, that's easy. So I think the question that comes up that isn't the easy question is, what about training? And the thing you want to think about is, what are you using that training for? That guides your choices, your decisions. So if you're taking training or you have training you've created, don't throw it away just because it was created prior to the release of the most recent PMBOK. It's what you need from it that counts. It really comes down to, what is the purpose of your training? Again, if it's for the PMP or the CAPM exam, you need new training. You need to use training that's current for PMBOK 5. If the goal of your training is to learn how to be a better project manager and best practices, you might have something that's already very good. There's plenty of good training around the basics that are going to be the basics no matter what for a long, long time. We call them classics. Now, another smart question. Do we need to change the way we run projects every time the PMBOK changes? Do you need to change your way of doing things as a project manager each time the PMBOK changes? Now, there's a good question.
So as professionals, do we need to change our job when the PMBOK changes? Do we need to change our organization's project methodology when the PMBOK changes? Well, these are good questions. Here's my question back to you. Do you know what the differences are? The first thing for you and I to know is what changed and why. And we're not going to go into that today because there's already a lot of good material available. And in the PMBOK, one of the nice things they do is there's an appendix that talks to you about what changed in this version. So you want to take a look, because whether you're going to make changes or not, I would say that, yeah, as a project manager, if you are committed to running projects and paying attention to the Project Management Institute way of running projects, then at least you want to get your hands on the version of the new PMBOK. You always want to have that latest edition. Then look in that appendix and see what changed and make your decisions. Now, I'm going to say that in this instance, with the version that came out in January, PMBOK 5, you're probably fine unless there are some things that you haven't been doing that you want to take an opportunity to incorporate into your practice and maybe into your methodology because your current approach isn't serving you well. One of the big changes was the addition of the new knowledge area. See, I told you I wasn't going to go too much into the changes, and now look at me. But what I want to say about that new knowledge area, stakeholder management, is that this is something you and I should have been doing all along. It's just now been moved to its own section to acknowledge how important it is. So let's think about our responsibilities when the PMBOK changes. If you're studying for the exam, of course you need the latest, and you're going to make changes based on the latest edition. If you have current training that you're either going to take or that you're giving, either way, take a look at it. If it isn't PMBOK specific, but it's best practice specific, you're probably fine. But if you are looking at training and it really does map to the PMBOK guide, then you always want to get the training that maps to the most current PMBOK guide, in this case right now, the 5th edition. Should you change how you do your job? You want to take a look at what's in the PMBOK and see if there's something that you want to include in your practice in order to improve the experience of your team members and to improve your skills. And that's it for now. Thanks for all your excellent questions and feedback. Bye for now.